They hired a big movie star, Arnold Schwarzenegger, to take my place. And we know how that turned out. The ratings went right down the tubes. It's been a total disaster. And Mark will never, ever bet against Trump again. And I want to just pray for Arnold, if we can, for those ratings, okay?
The applause felt unusually restrained because Arnold Schwarzenegger wasn't smiling. Moments earlier, he had watched a recent clip of Donald Trump delivering an intense message about strength, adversaries, Iran, maintain America's standing in the world. The audience expected Arnold to respond with a familiar movie reference or a lighthearted joke. Instead, he stood quietly beside a simple wooden chair, one hand resting on its back, staring at the screen as though weighing the difference between performance and leadership. Then he spoke. Strong leaders don't rely on weak excuses. The room instantly fell silent. It wasn't delivered like a cinematic one-liner. It sounded more like the observation of someone who had governed a major state, grown up with the lessons of authoritarian history, and understood how loud political rhetoric can sometimes conceal a lack of real courage. Trump had spent considerable time projecting toughness. Meanwhile, growing concerns surrounding Iran continued to dominate headlines. Reports described renewed missile and drone exchanges, despite ongoing discussions aimed at reducing tensions. Regional leaders were voicing concern, energy markets were reacting nervously, and uncertainty surrounding key shipping routes remained a major issue. Against that backdrop, Arnold's words carried a different weight. Arnold pointed toward the screen and posed a simple question.
I have a great idea. Why don't we switch jobs? You take over TV, because you're such an expert in ratings, and I take over your job. And then people can finally sleep comfortably again.
The audience applauded, though more thoughtfully than enthusiastically. Another clip appeared. Trump criticized opponents, mocked reporters, and argued that developments involving Iran demonstrated American strength and influence. Arnold watched quietly from beginning to end. When the video stopped, he slowly pulled the chair to center stage and sat down. The atmosphere shifted immediately. This no longer felt like a celebrity taking shots at a politician. It felt like someone inviting the audience to pause and consider the difference between confidence and control. America doesn't need a leader who only appears strong when insulting someone, Arnold said. It needs someone who can remain calm when people are anxious, explain difficult situations honestly, and answer hard questions without turning every challenge into a personal feud. At that moment, Trump's own reaction became part of the discussion. A producer displayed a series of online responses filled with capital letters, declarations of victory, and complaints about media coverage. Arnold studied the screen briefly before turning back to the crowd. If every headline makes you flex, he said, maybe that isn't strength. Maybe it's irritation. The audience erupted with laughter and applause.
Our intelligence community, our justice system, and worst of all, our country. You're the president of the United States. You shouldn't do that. I mean, what's the matter with you? I mean, whatever happened to the strong words or to the strength of Ronald Reagan when he stood there at the Berlin Wall and he said, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. What happened to all that?
But Arnold didn't chase the reaction. Instead, he redirected attention toward the issue itself. Conversations about war are not entertainment, he said. Drone strikes are not campaign slogans. He spoke about families living near military installations, sailors serving in tense regions, workers dealing with rising fuel costs, and retirees watching markets react to geopolitical instability. These people don't need dramatic posturing, he continued. They need stability. They need information. They need leadership that understands the difference between demonstrating strength and escalating risk. He added that allies around the world also need confidence that America's commitments remain dependable during moments of uncertainty. The room grew quieter with every sentence. Arnold reminded the audience that genuine strength often reveals itself through restraint, rather than aggression. It was a lesson, he said, came from studying history, not performing in films. People who become obsessed with power, he argued, often mistake fear for respect. They assume silence means loyalty when in reality silence can sometimes reflect concern. A democracy, he said, should never confuse a leader's temper with national strength. Then came the line that changed everything. Standing up from the chair and turning toward Trump's frozen image on the screen, Arnold said, "You're not leading the free world if the free world has to check your mood before breakfast." For a brief moment, the room froze. Then the audience rose to its feet. The line connected every piece of the conversation, the tensions abroad, the public outbursts, the criticism of opponents, the constant emphasis on dominance, and the uncertainty hanging over the broader discussion. Trump wanted the focus to remain on toughness.
President Trump, I just saw your press conference with President Putin, and it was embarrassing. I mean, you stood there like a little wet noodle, like a little fanboy. I mean, I was asking myself, when are you going to ask him for an autograph or for a selfie or something like that? I mean, you literally sold out at this press conference.
Arnold redirected the conversation toward a different question entirely: whether people trusted Trump's judgment when global tensions were rising. A final image appeared on the screen. On one side were headlines about international tensions, diplomatic talks, military actions, regional concerns, energy markets, and nuclear negotiations. On the other side were screenshots of angry posts, personal attacks, and ongoing disputes with critics. Arnold didn't need to explain the contrast. The audience understood it immediately. "The world is watching more than meetings and missiles," he said. "It's watching temperament. Allies watch it, rivals watch it, markets watch it, families watch it." He argued that when the leader of a major nation appears more focused on responding to jokes and criticism than addressing potential consequences, the image of strength begins to weaken. By the end of the segment, Trump's anger no longer looked like confidence. Instead, it appeared closer to anxiety wrapped in the language of power. Arnold never tried to overpower the moment with volume or theatrics. Instead, he dismantled the performance with a single question: is strength still strength if it lacks discipline? The audience had arrived expecting a celebrity versus politician confrontation. They left thinking about something far more complicated. If someone struggles to handle criticism from commentators and opponents, what happens when the challenge is no longer a joke, but a genuine crisis? That question lingered long after the applause.